Every attempt that Donald Trump has made to hide the Epstein files has backfired, and every threat that he has made to try to keep someone silent has only made them speak out. And we are seeing that this morning with Jeffrey Epstein's brother, who broke his silence after emails between him and Epstein have blown up this scandal maybe like no other. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how Epstein's brother broke his silence, what he is finally sharing, and how it shakes all of this up, I want to start with someone else who has been threatened by Donald Trump. That is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and how she is responding this morning in this clip right here.
The president says he's withdrawing support for you, encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on, and that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected, and I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration, and I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations, and I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said,
I think what is so important about what you are seeing from Marjorie Taylor Greene in terms of the damage that it is doing to Donald Trump is that she is sending a message to other Republicans that he will soon be gone, or he is not popular enough to save you from this Epstein vote. That is what Republicans in Congress are about to weigh. What will be more damaging, voting to protect pedophiles or voting against Donald Trump? Because, of course, we know which one of those things that Donald Trump is. And so that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is making very clear in one of the reddest districts in the country, and with maybe the biggest fundraising base of small dollar donors in politics. The MAGA base is always backing Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so what she's saying to them is, the base sees what I'm doing. They like it. You better fall in line. Not fall in line with Trump, as they're used to, fall in line with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because more keeps coming, as of course we'll get to, but Thomas Massie saying the same thing is super important.
To happen. I would remind my Republican colleagues who are deciding how to vote, Donald Trump can protect you in red districts right now by giving you an endorsement, but in 2030, he's not going to be the president, and you will have voted to protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files, and the president can't protect you then. This vote, the record of this vote, will last longer than Donald Trump.
They are making it abundantly clear right now that being on Donald Trump's side is the losing side, and that you will come to regret it. Which, again, I think is so important in this moment, not just for the fracturing of the MAGA movement and the Republican Party, but for us to jump on. Every Republican in Donald Trump's cabinet should be asked about how they feel about this all the time. Ask J.D. Vance if he thinks that Marjorie Taylor Greene is making good points. If Thomas Massie, what he's saying makes sense. Push on these people as much as possible, because they will fold, they will bend. These are not strong-willed individuals. They have no moral compass guiding them. they will fold because there is too much evidence at this point. And of course, the evidence as it relates to Epstein's brother that you might be thinking about had to do with Donald Trump and the possibility of him, engaging in some activities with Bill Clinton has been the suspicion on the internet for the past couple of days. But Epstein, his brother, was been, of course, seeing the threats that Donald Trump is putting out about anyone saying anything about him. And so he had to finally break his silence and respond. We can see that right here. Jeffrey Epstein's brother stuns with response to email about Trump's sex act with Bubba. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, issued a statement Saturday addressing the uproar sparked by the release of a 2018 email exchange in which he appeared to suggest that Donald Trump had engaged in sexual acts with someone identified only as Bubba, according to Business Insider. Sent in March of 2018, the email in question saw Mark Epstein email his brother Jeffrey Epstein to inquire about whether Russian President Vladimir Putin had the photos of Trump sucking Bubba, using a slang word for oral sex. It was released last Wednesday by the House Oversight Committee, which dropped 20,000 pages of documents it had subpoenaed from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. An online frenzy erupted over the email, with many speculating that Bubba could have been a reference to former President Bill Clinton, with Bubba being his nickname. Epstein's brother has now come out with a statement, writing, "For the avoidance of doubt, the reference to Bubba in this correspondence is not in any way a reference to former President Bill Clinton. Any attempt to conflate that reference with Bill Clinton or to read sweeping implications onto them misrepresents both the purpose and the tone of the original correspondence. I want to be absolutely clear on this point so that public record is not distorted and so that speculation does not unfairly implicate people who are not actually being referenced in those communications." Mark Epstein went on to dismiss his 2018 comments as simply part of a humorous exchange between two brothers that was never meant for public release, though ultimately he did not clarify who Bubba referred to. Mark Epstein is among the voices who called into question the circumstances surrounding his brother's death, who supposedly died by suicide in 2019 in prison while awaiting trial on trafficking charges. Mark Epstein had hired a forensic pathologist to conduct an independent autopsy on his late brother, the findings of which concluded that his death was more consistent with homicide than suicide. And of course, one of the many emails drawing attention alongside that one was from 2015, in which it was written that, "Have them ask my houseman about Donald Trump almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused he walked straight into the door." And of course, that email was written by Jeffrey Epstein. So this might just read as a simple statement to some, putting out information, responding to just this huge inquiry and interest online. But to me, no one says that unless they have to. No one brings more attention to their involvement unless they have to. No one is going to clarify who Donald Trump was or was not blowing unless they have to. Who was pushing Mark Epstein to do so? Was it his lawyers? Was it someone from the Trump administration? Is he worried that Trump is coming after him? Seriously, if this guy believes that his brother was killed in prison, I doubt that he thinks it was by anyone maybe other than the sitting president of the United States. So is Mark Epstein prematurely, or not prematurely, but just like in advance responding to a fear that Donald Trump might come after him for a story that may be above the rest? Of course, the rest of these stories, all that came out in these emails was incredibly disgusting and disturbing. But truly, I don't know what Donald Trump has been mocked for more than the possibility of him having, engaged in activities with Bill Clinton. So is this coming down from the top, or is Epstein's brother worried that Trump might come after him? I don't know, but there's been a lot of threats passed around, especially now that we don't actually know who Donald Trump was engaged with these activities with. Could it have possibly been, of course, one of the young girls it was referred to that he was staring at so intently he ran his fucking face into a door? Who knows? But again, these are the questions that we need answered, and these are the questions that Ro Khanna is demanding answers for this morning in this clip right here.
This week, do you think you have enough votes for it to pass?
We do, and there's nothing I have been prouder of or more meaningful than this work. The credit goes to the survivors. They're going to be at the Capitol on Tuesday in a press conference. Massey, myself, and Representative Green are doing. This was disgusting. Epstein had set up a rape island where rich and powerful men were abusing young girls with impunity. And there are thousands of victims, and rich and powerful men still have buildings named after them, scholarships named after them. This is not partisan. They all need to be held accountable. The Epstein class needs to go.
How many Republicans are going to join you? Could you have a veto-proof majority?
Well, I was hoping that, and then Donald Trump started to tweet out saying that he's going to unendorse people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it's basically Massey and me versus the White House. I mean, they're calling members to the Situation Room. But you know why Trump is losing his MAGA base on this? The reason he's losing it is he ran saying there's a corrupt governing elite that has shafted you, that this is the Epstein class versus forgotten Americans, and I'm going to stand up for forgotten Americans. He's forgotten those forgotten Americans. And we are saying that we are going to stand up for survivors, for America's kids, and we're going to hold this class accountable.
Very quickly, how many Republicans do you think will join you?
I'm hoping for 40 plus.
Okay. Look, in response to your effort to push this bill forward, President Trump this week called on the Justice Department to launch an investigation into some of the people who've been named related to Jeffrey Epstein, including in these recent emails, Bill Clinton, former Harvard president Larry Summers. Do you support this investigation, Congressman?
Look, I'm all for investigation wherever it leads in terms of whether it's Democrat or Republican, have accountability. My concern is that he is doing this to prevent a release of the files, because some people are saying that when you can say there's an active investigation, you don't have to release the files. So what I'm for is transparency. Release the files and then have the accountability for anyone, regardless of their party.
Let me ask you, this week the Democratic House Oversight Committee, which you're a part of, did release all of these emails from Mr. Epstein. In one of them, he said President Trump, quote, knew about the girls. The president's calling these emails a Democratic hoax. Republicans are saying that Democrats are just cherry picking these documents. Are Democrats trying to score political points against the president in this fight? Is that a part of it?
No. In fact, on Tuesday, what we're going to ask is for the president to meet with these survivors. If you gave me a choice, I'd rather the president reverse course. I'd rather he release all these files. Someone was saying that his numbers would go up. I don't care if he gets the political win. There is a group of rich and powerful men who abused young girls. It's the one thing this country agrees was horrible. I don't think we've had a scandal like this in this country. And what we're asking for is justice for those survivors. So it's not about Donald Trump. I don't even know how involved Trump was.
We need answers, and we will continue to ask questions on this show. We need answers, and we will continue to ask the questions to get us there. We will continue to push back on the mainstream media if they are not holding this administration to account. And do you know what? They're not conspiracies. We are allowed to ask questions on this show. We are allowed to push for truth. We are going to. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.